Hey everyone! We're here to talk to you today about coffee while camping. Now we have featured a lot of these items in previous videos, but coffee is so important to us that we decided we needed a video dedicated just to coffee.
So today we're going to share some of our favorite ways that we've found to make, store, and carry coffee, whether you're at home, in the camper, or out in the backcountry camping in a tent.
So we start our coffee, obviously, with coffee. At least storing coffee, that is. So you'll notice a lot of our products are by this great company called Planetary Design. And they make these airscape containers, which are perfect. They're super rugged. Don't break, which is key. They make all different sizes. We really like to put whole beans in this big one.
And the small one is great for those days when I get bored sitting around the camper and decide to just go to town grinding coffee.
They have an airtight lid that pushes all the way down, so even as the level gets lower, you still don't have any air inside your canister.
Now, what do you do with all those fresh coffee beans? You gotta grind them. For us, we prefer to use a hand crank manual grinder thingy.
A manual coffee grinder?
A hand crank manual grinder thingy. It's, I think, the product name if you look it up on Amazon.
Yeah, I'll link to it.
We prefer this because you don't have to rely on electricity or anything like that. And this is good anywhere from making coffee at home all the way to the backcountry.
So, making coffee. Let's talk about our number one most commonly used method for making coffee, which is our 48-ounce insulated French press.
Oui, oui.
This is another product by Planetary Design that we love because unlike a lot of other French presses, which are glass, this one is much harder to break and it's insulated. So we can make an entire 48 ounces of coffee and we can sit around for hours while we drink it and it stays hot and it's awesome. But if you don't want 48 ounces of coffee, this also comes in two smaller sizes.
But those smaller sizes are just for quitters.
If you are not familiar with how a French press works, you simply take the lid off, you throw your coffee grounds in the bottom, then you pour almost boiling water until it's full. Then you're going to stick the lid on with the handle still up. Let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes. You push it down and voila, you have your coffee. Another awesome thing about this French press, the plate that pushes the water down has a brew stop technology that keeps your coffee from getting bitter as it sits. It doesn't allow everything to keep recirculating once you brew it. It's brewed. That's awesome.
And if all of that's too difficult to understand, they also make an English press version. One of my longtime favorite coffee making devices is known as a Bialetti, which I believe is a form called a Moka pot. I love this thing for several reasons. It's pretty simple to use, it makes a very strong cup of coffee, comes in a lot of different sizes. You can either just make it almost like an espresso over the stove, or boil a little bit of water and make an Americano. Now, if you're not familiar with these and how they work, they're very similar to percolators. It has 3 pieces. You put your water in the bottom, fill up to just below this pressure relief valve. You put your coffee in here, make it, a little bit larger than normal size grounds, that way they don't go up with the water. Screw on the top, place it on a stovetop or camp stove or a fire, and just heat it until it starts to boil. And then the water will go up through the coffee grounds and come out through this little spigot.
Obviously, those are the ways we like to make coffee when we're in the camper, but we also have a lot of driving days. So if we know we're going to have a long driving day, we will make the coffee and then put it in a giant Stanley thermos. This way we know that we'll have coffee pretty much all day long and that I will have a sufficient number of bathroom stops to annoy my driver with.
Literally, not even a quarter tank of gas. Now, you may be starting to notice a pattern here, but we have 2 more great options here from Planetary Design for those days when you need something quick and on the go.
Both of these mugs are essentially a French press in an individual mug. This little one, called the Steel Toe, is the perfect size for one person. It has the French press that you push down, and then it has a nice tight lockable lid so that you can just drink it on the go. And this bad boy is called the Overlander. It's really awesome because it is a little bit larger, still the same French press, but after you brew your coffee and you drink your coffee, you can then unscrew the bottom and easily discard your spent coffee grounds.
For us, it doesn't get any better than enjoying a nice hot cup of coffee way out in the backcountry, where even a bad cup of coffee tastes pretty dang good. But why should you settle for bad coffee? The first thing you need to make a nice hot cup of coffee in the backcountry is hot water. We like using the jet boil because you can get really hot water really fast. This is the larger size that they make that we use for our guided backpacking trips.
Once you have hot water, there are 3 ways we like to make coffee on the trail. The first of which is this nifty little attachment for the jet boil that turns it into a French press, which you might have noticed is one of our favorite ways to make coffee. The way this works is that the jet boil's lid has a small opening in the top, and you take the handle to the press, you put it through the opening in the lid, you screw it into the French press attachment, and that turns it into a nice little French press. The second way we like to make coffee on the trail is another tiny little accessory. It is a backpacking pour over. This is made by GSI Outdoors, who also makes one of our favorite backpacking mugs. They're super lightweight. You can just throw a carabiner on the handle, and when you take it out of its little sleeve, there's measuring marks on it, so you can also measure water, which is super awesome.
And obviously, you can also use them in the camper.
Back to coffee. When you unfold this tiny little disc, it turns into a pour over with a little basket and clips. The clips just go right onto your mug. You put the coffee grounds directly into the little filter basket, and then you just pour the hot water directly over, and it will slowly filter the coffee into your mug. So you remember those handy little airscape containers I talked about a minute ago, or like 5 minutes ago? This is a miniature version of that, which isn't it so adorable and cute? But this is perfect for hiking. Whether you want to go on a day hike and enjoy a cup of coffee on the top of a mountain, or you're going backpacking, you can put your coffee in here. It has the same little lid that will help keep all the air out. And then it seals, and it's tiny and light and super adorable. I mean, that's the key factor. Yeah. It's adorable.
Maybe enough for one person for a couple of days, but perfect.
Or you could just get like 3 of them. And the third and final way that we love to make coffee when we're out on the trail, you're never going to guess this. Seriously, instant coffee.
Anybody who spent any time traveling around Argentina knows Nescafe and knows that instant coffee sucks. And that's where Alpine Start comes in. As the label says, they make instant coffee that actually tastes good.
For those of you who are unsure about this, give it a try. It's actually pretty tasty. They make a regular instant coffee, they make a instant dirty chai latte, and a coconut creamer latte. You can make them hot, you can make them cold. Don't knock it till you try it. We know there are a lot of other methods for making coffee, but these are the items that we have decided work best for a life very active on the road, especially when you're very clumsy and prone to breaking things like me. These are definitely our favorite items.
It doesn't matter if you prefer an AeroPress, a Keurig, or a French press like us. We can all agree on one thing. Once our feet hit the bed first thing in the morning, it's time to enjoy that nice hot cup of coffee.
So here's to a cup of coffee first thing in the morning, no matter where you wake up. Love and light. Okay, coffee. Coffee.
Go. Coffee. Me?